Thank you very much. That was a, a lovely addition to a fine morning service. That happens to be one of my favorite passages, one of my favorite passages in all the Bible. And I don't know if you know this, but Mindy was married to a rabbi before she was married to me. A man she loved very much and unfortunately died prematurely. And before she met me, she had made a tombstone for her husband. And on that tombstone, she put some of his favorite words of the Bible. And they were the words that she just read from the book of Micah. And then when we met each other and got to know each other a little bit, she saw my talit. I had a custom made talit, and most of the people have like the blessing on their talit, up here around the collar part, the blessing of the talit. But I didn't have that. I had instead the very same words from the book of Micah, because they're some of my favorite words. And she looked at this and she thought of that, and she said, there's something interesting about this one. And I liked it so much. I liked these words so much that I figured if I was going to have a boy, I would name him after the guy that first said this. And guess what? I did have a boy. And he's named after a prophet I really like. And you'll never guess what his name is. So what are these words anyways? Why are they so important? It says, how can I approach God? How can I come close to God? What does God want from me? Does God want me to give, some of the produce of my fields? Does God want me to sacrifice a cow or a young cow? Does God want me to give all kinds of streams of oil, tens of thousands of streams of oil? Or does God want maybe the biggest thing that I could possibly offer, the fruit of our womb? Does God want me to sacrifice my child? Because that's what other religions did. Other religions viewed God as like, I guess you could call it the God store. And if you pay certain things, you get certain things. And if you want rain, well, you got to pay a certain amount. And those were the things they did. They give grains. They give things that they really liked. They kill animals. Sometimes they'd even kill people if they really wanted something bad enough. But our God says, no, this is not what we want. This is, I am not a store that is open. You don't just buy things. God doesn't just want someone that does things blindly without thinking. Rather, the way to get close to God is, and it starts off with a great word, only. I mean, that's the translation, which means this isn't so hard to do. Only do this. I'm not expecting a whole lot from you, but this is all I expect. Only to do justice. Osei tzedek, to do justice. And that means that we've got to think a little bit. We've got to figure out where justice is and where justice isn't, and how to bring it about. We need to figure out a way to reward people who have done good things, and harness people that are doing bad things. And you have to know the difference between good things and bad things in order to understand what justice is. Part of justice, the central part of it is all people are created in the image of God. That's sort of the central part of it. And the very first step is welcome people who are different than you are. That's sort of the first step of justice. To view yourself in other people's shoes, that's because we're all created in God's image. That's the heart of justice. And to love mercy. You don't do mercy all the time. You do justice all the time, but you love to have an opportunity where you can do mercy and get away with it. Mercy means where you give someone a second chance, where they've done something, they've done a mistake, and well, you help them fix it. You help them fix the mistake. Even though they were the ones that did it, you kind of help them out. You give them a second chance, maybe even a third chance. You can't always do mercy, but you got to love the opportunity to do mercy. And the third one is to walk humbly. Walk with not pounding things into other people's heads. Be kind of humble in the world. And walk humbly, not just by yourself, but with God. So you're walking kind of hand in hand with God. I'm reminded of, on this, the 4th of July, one of my favorite quotes from Abraham Lincoln. When Abraham Lincoln was asked during the Civil War, do you think God is on your side? Well, that's an interesting question, because this is America against America, kind of. This is a really hard thing. And do you think America is on your side? And Abraham Lincoln answered by saying, I only pray that I'm on God's side. It's not making God come to you. How can you walk with God? Where God is walking, how can you walk humbly? And it doesn't just say with God, it says Elohecha, with your God, which means the way that you walk with God is different than the way that I walk with God or someone else over there. We all walk with our God, how God reaches out to us, and we're humble about it. And there's differences, and we celebrate those differences. We don't try to lord one over another. This 4th of July, this is a time where we take a look at what it means to be an American. And there's a lot to learn from this line right here. America is not about bribing to get what you want. It's not about giving sacrifices, expecting something in return for it. Just killing. America is not a store. We're going to give you this and we're going to get this back. America is not about people who have more to give, get a whole lot more out of America. America isn't just about people blindly being obedient. It's about everybody playing a part. The power in America rests with the people. And the people have to be aware and look at the world and be aware of what justice is and what right and wrong is. And listen for when justice is really happening and celebrate it. And when justice isn't happening, work hard to make it happen. And also to have a love of mercy, caring for people that are in need of caring. An ambulance can't go to everybody's house. But if the ambulance driver knows where it is needed, then ambulance driver can be very effective. That's what loving mercy has to deal with too. Know where to send our ambulances to, who to give another chance to, who to help out, who to help them with the problems that maybe they created, or maybe they fell into, or maybe they didn't have a better choice, but something got broken because of it. How to help fix that. That's what loving mercy is about. And to walk humbly, not to stare people down through the barrel of a shotgun and say, I'm going to slap some sense into this one here. I'm going to teach them a lesson. Be humble about it. Exhibit it. Role model justice and mercy and be humble about it. People will watch. People will watch you. And know that if you're doing that, you're moving closer towards God, and to try to figure out where is God walking that you can walk with God. Boy, I love that line. God doesn't want us to just chop off our arms. God wants us to look for justice and to do justice, to have a real sense of a love, a passion for doing mercy, and to be humble, and to find out where God is walking and try to walk there, and to be aware that other people might be walking in different places, but they're walking with their God. I think if we do that, that's a big part of what makes America great. So today, maybe you'll have a hot dog at a barbecue. Maybe you'll see some fireworks on TV. I don't know. I suspect that there'll be some pirate fireworks somewhere in your neighborhood if you open up your window and look out somewhere. Or at least some firecrackers. There'll be someone doing something. But remember, we can be a good country when we remember that the power rests in the people. And the people, whenever you help people to express that power that's in them, whenever you help them to vote, whenever you help them to have justice, whenever you reach out towards mercy, you're making this a better country for Americans and a better country for the world. May this 4th of July help us to become an even better country.